This is probably the most uncomfortable money video I've ever made. I'm 35 and I bought my first home at 27, and I always said I would never sell my real estate. This was my generational wealth plan, my early retirement, but now I'm at a crossroads in my life. I have four real options on the table. So today I'm breaking down every number, every option, and the real risk that people don't talk about with being a landlord. So the reason why any of this is even on the table is because I finished renovating my second property. If you're new here, I own a home and I've been renovating a rental property for the past 2 years. And the upstairs unit, it's not bad. It's better insulated, it's more updated, I have my own parking spot. It's just a little easier to live in compared to my home. It's big, beautiful, and ancient. It was built in 1911. So there's a lot of stuff that really needs updating and renovating. I love that home. That place was my first real independence. It was my home that no one could kick me out of. It was that first major purchase where I scrounged up every dollar and said, yo, this is my path, this is my decision. That is the emotional attachment I have to my primary home. But I finally cracked open that door, that cracked open that option, working on this rental property. And I'm like, yo, maybe it's time for a change. And when I opened that decision, that's when the profitability and the money start coming into play. So now I'm choosing between cash flow, risk, and my lifestyle. So this is option one. I move into my rental property and I rent my home. This is like the online guru option where you keep buying rentals, you never sell them, you keep expanding, etc. But that comes with a cost. It comes with real-time headaches. And this is actually a more risky option for me because I live in a landlord-tenant friendly state. So once you hand over those keys, it is so hard to get them back. The pros is you keep the property, but you keep all the headaches, repairs, and responsibilities that come with said property. So if my home is rented and I move into my rental property, I'm just moving upstairs. So that means I'm living on top of someone. I've never lived in a duplex before, and I don't know how it's gonna go, like literally lording over my basement tenant. That kind of makes me nervous. But I have the potential to make a monthly cash flow by renting my home. Let me show you the numbers. So this is my home budget. It's just under 1,400 a month. So I can literally rent this property for about 2,100 plus utilities, and that would net me around $700 a month. Now, if I don't want all the headaches of being a landlord, this 740 becomes less when I hire a property manager, which brings me to option number two. I can move into my rental with all those same cons, living on top of someone, etc., and sell my primary home and make $100,000. Wow. This one gives me options. It gives me flexibility, it gives me liquidity. I have money to make moves with. And I now have a simpler life. But it is going to be more expensive to stay in my rental property. So option three, I stay in my original home and I rent my rental. Now the pros to staying just put where I'm at. I don't have to move. I keep a huge space and I am emotionally safe. This is the place that I worked hard for my whole life. The basement suites I lived into next to a cemetery, shitty access to scrounge up this money and get something of my own. Like it's just it's so hard to part with it because it's part of my identity, honestly. It's crazy. And by staying in this property, I don't have to live on top of anybody. But I'm going to have to renovate it to get it up to my standards. Let me show y'all the numbers. So I have my home budget first, right? If I live there by myself, I can probably get some of those utilities down and cost about $1,900 a month for me to live there. But to get it up to my standards, I'd have to do major renovations. I'd have to do some cosmetic ones. I'd have to put upstairs mini splits because the ventilation, AC, heat isn't good. I'd have to waterproof the basement because I'm having a leak, a slow leak. I'd have to insulate, drywall, and make my parking. I probably have to spend 30 grand just to get it up to par. And once you start tearing down old walls in an old home, you do not know what's behind there. This 30 grand could easily double. So if I stay in my home and do nothing, I still have to rent out my rental property, the upper and lower. So these are the numbers for that property. My new home budget. My mortgage and property taxes are a lot higher. My insurance is higher, and I'm already at 2,700. When you add all of the utilities for upstairs and downstairs, and I have to keep them inclusive because they're not all separated. I'm looking at $3,700 a month for 2 units. So that means I need to literally rent the upstairs unit for 2,200 all inclusive, downstairs 1,500, and that puts me at 3,700, guys. That is $25 worth of cash flow for being a landlord times two. $25. What would you do? So that leads me to my last option, which is stay in my home. I still have those renovations, but sell that property. I don't have to just cash flow $25. I can actually make money. I can probably make 50 grand in profit. But believe it or not, this one kind of emotionally hurts too because I've been working on this property for the past 2 years and I thought I was going to hold on to it, that whole identity thing and the online guru thing. And I'm just gonna sell it after all of this. Like it feels weird. And this is a part a lot of people don't talk about. Like I've built my identity around owning property. I've always been naturally good with money. I've always been a saver. I wanted to retire early, so I'm like, yo, let me get on this train. I can do this. I can afford this. I can get myself out of this rat race. And now to do a 360 almost on that, it feels so weird to me, let alone the fact that your girl has major trust issues, and having a piece of my own was something I felt like no one could ever take away from me. That was my little piece of heaven, my little piece of peace I can make for myself. So to like let it go, it feels so weird. It's like everything I worked hard for, I'm just like flipping. The truth is, the rental game that they sell online isn't it. It's very dependent on what you A, paid for the property, and two, where it's located, because the laws need to be on your side. And once I started being part of all these landlord groups and seeing their horror stories, it started to get me so scared. And I'm like, damn, this one asset that I worked hard for, I will go crazy if I have to fight for it and I'm not getting paid. So I'm asking myself, is $700 a month worth the potential risk? Is it worth the stress, the unknown repairs, the chance that a bad tenant wipes out all my profits? Or does it make more sense to unlock this money and deploy it elsewhere? I don't have a final answer yet, but I want y'all to tell me what you would do if you were in my shoes. If you were 35 and had the chance to make $700 a month or have $100,000 today, what would you do?